live.
What's that? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
And when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it.
It's Mahomes' house. And it is good. Woo! Arrowhead man. The Lombardi Trophy is a red and gold reflection. You gotta fight for your right to party.
Woo! New intro.
New intro, baby. Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. That means it's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you, everybody who's joining us tonight. If this is your first time or you haven't done it already, if you don't know the drill, click like, click subscribe, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell another Chiefs fan, help spread the word. We'd sure appreciate it. The more the merrier. We love talking Chiefs, but we love talking Chiefs with you all even more. So, got a good show tonight. Some interesting topics going on in off-season Chiefs Kingdom here. OTAs are wound down, and now it's kind of the players' last bit of downtime until training camp. There's some trash talk going with the Bengals. There's some hardware getting passed out to the team. Star players maybe mixed up in some drama, who knows, but we'll get to all that. Fellas, how you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've been working on a little housing project here, and it's making me feel pretty old. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oof. Back ain't 20 years old anymore. You know what I'm saying? So,
Tell me about it.
God, isn't that the truth, man?
No doubt. Bo,
No,
how you doing?
I'm good.
Great.
I actually found myself with some extra time on my hands, so made ourselves a little new intro there. I hope you guys appreciate the audio there. Loved the clips that I was finding. It's just like, yeah, I gotta throw this in. Why is this not in our intro? We have some, so yeah, made a new intro there. I mean, Bo's
the sound and video, or I guess it's audio and video wizard on CKL here, so he put together a nice little treat for you. If you haven't seen his Super Bowl montage that he put together back in February after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, I don't know if you all heard that or not. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl, but he put together a pretty dope montage. So go back and check that out. Check out some other videos on the channel. We'd appreciate it. Let's just get into it. Chris Jones. We talked about his situation last week. Chiefs Kingdom level of worry or concern with his contract situation. He's under contract for the upcoming season, but everybody is pretty much aware of the fact that he wants and deserves and has earned an extension at this point. Matter of time, finding the money. I know some folks were worried about it last week on Chiefs Kingdom on Twitter. Not always the best gauge of the fandom and in reality on Twitter, but there's some people saying they need to get it done. We don't want to get another situation where guy doesn't get his extension and is unhappy. Chiefs ring ceremony was last week. We'll talk about the rings here in a little bit, but Chris Jones surprisingly absent from the ring gala. I don't even ring ceremony is the right word. Not that a red carpet rolled out, man. They had the Union Station all decked out. Looked like the Oscars or something was going on in that place. Pretty cool. Chris Jones absent, which obviously created a lot of speculation as to why he was not there. He then later came out a few days later and said that he was sick. That's why he was not in attendance at the ring gala. Let's just go around the horn here. I'd be interested to see what everybody in the chat has to say about Chris Jones' absence. Nick, are you buying that he was not there because he was sick?
Yeah, 100%. I thought it was odd. He went to the White House trip, right? I mean, so I don't think that there's any indication that he's upset with the team or the organization. I mean, he tweeted that he wanted to be a Chief for life. He was never going to play for another team in the past. So I think some of this is just, kind of Twitter fabrication. The good news is that when everybody from Chiefs Twitter went on the Chris Jones hunt, we didn't find out that he also was a bank robber that got arrested for robbing banks in another state. Right. So he was just sick. So we got that going for us.
Right. Bo, you thinking Chris Jones was absent due to illness, or is there something more going on there?
Yeah, man, I took a huge sigh of relief, right? I mean, I kind of dove into Twitter world when I saw that he wasn't there and just saw the speculation, and I kind of bit into it. And so saw that. I sent you guys the emoji, just like, whew, all right, we dodged a bullet there. All right. And like, yeah, we talked about it last week. That's what everybody was feeling. That's what we kind of all felt, that like, no, it's either something illness related, or they just didn't want to have him get injured in OTAs or whatever. Or it was just contract, like getting the I's dotted and the T's crossed in his contract extension. All those things were a possibility. It seems like that's still what it is, and yeah. So glad that that happens to be the case, that he was just sick.
Yeah, I would have had to have been pretty sick to miss that thing. That was a sweet setup. But yeah, like you mentioned, he was at the White House to deal. It's not that, it seems like he's sideways with the organization. Brett Veach seemed genuinely surprised when someone asked him about not being there. He goes, "He's not here yet." So he felt good about where they were. Some reports going around now that they kind of expect to have the deal done before week 1. They've got a month between now and the start of training camp to get that thing ironed out, get it going. He did miss the OTAs, which we kind of briefly talked about last week's episode, but some veteran guys missed that kind of stuff. Jet McKinnon, he wasn't there. You see some other veteran guys, even though it's mandatory. Chris Jones doesn't necessarily need to be at an off-season workout to be ready to go for the season. Some of those guys, the star veteran players, they've earned maybe a mulligan when it comes to some of the off-season practices. So looking forward to that deal getting done. We've also discussed this before. I mean, they need him, so they got to get it figured out. But
They will. They'll get it figured out. They know what they're doing with that guy. I think they understand his value.
yeah, and Chris Jones has never given us any reason to doubt him before. He tells the truth. When the Chiefs lost in the divisional round a few years ago, he tweeted during the AFC Championship game, "We will be in this game next year." The Chiefs were, and then they lost that game. They were in the Super Bowl, and he was tweeting again, "We will be in this game next year." They were in the Super Bowl the next year and won the Super Bowl. So, hey, I'm going to take Stone Cold Chris Jones in his word. And if you come across this video, this channel, Chris, the offer is still out there for you to come on CKL.
Completely.
And tell us about what you said to Matt Ryan, and we will figure out a way to pay for your blue checkmark verified status on Twitter indefinitely. So, God, I still want to know what he said to him.
Who doesn't? Oh, man.
Do we think he ever comes out and says it, even maybe after he retires or isn't playing anymore? Bo, what do you think? Does he spill the beans?
Yeah, dude. I think podcasting's too big of a thing. Ex-players are doing that all the time now. It's too big of a thing. Everybody wants to know. I think that's probably one of, like, celebrities get you hear one of their biggest complaints is they often get asked the same question over and over again. It's kind of tiring asking that or answering the same question over. I can imagine that's probably his question that he gets asked over and over again, and he's just tired of deflecting it. So I'd imagine at some point we hear those infamous words that cost us that game.
Right. Nick, you think Chris Jones ever lets the cat out of the bag and tells everyone what he told Matt Ryan in that game?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Probably not. Probably carry that with him for a while. And, it's, if not, then it's like when you die and you go to heaven, they're like, "Hey, we'll answer, 3 questions." It'll be like JFK,
We'll let
meaning
you
of
in.
life, and what did Chris Jones say to Matt Ryan on that one play?
Yeah.
You guys see we are on up to 65-inch TVs live right now. It's a lot of ugly for me in that size, I bet.
I was about to say, I hope you don't have HD on that TV. So, appreciate everybody. It looks like we got a bunch of regulars in the chat here. Brenda, Big Doug, Laney, John C. Got our man Coles in here, rocking the Mahomes jersey, it looks like. Nice. Always like to see that. Carol is in the chat.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, maybe our man Chris Daly will pop in here at some point. Our man John V over at the Locker Room Rant. I've been a little upset that Locker Room Rant wasn't on the last couple of weeks.
I know.
Me
right?
too. I was
Getting
thinking
on
the
my
same
phone and
thing,
I'm
dude.
looking and no show schedule. What the hell's going on here? So we have to jump on those guys about that. But if you haven't checked out John V, he's the king of Ohio Niners fans. Super good guy, very humble. He's got one of the best Super Bowl LIV in Miami stories I've heard as well. So go check out their channel. I mean, that had to suck being on a party boat with just a bunch of Chiefs fans gloating about winning the Super Bowl the night before. If you're John V, if you're a 49ers fan, man, that had to have been brutal.
I wish I could have been there for that.
I think I might have stayed in the hotel room that day, but thanks again for everybody who's jumping in here. Click like, click subscribe. We appreciate it. Speaking of rings, there's a lot to talk about with that. First of all, that ceremony that they put on was extravagant. Do either of you ever remember a team doing something like that for handing out the rings?
No,
the last time they gave out rings, they had the players were on the field there at Arrowhead and had some tables and stuff set up. But like I said, this looked like the Oscars or the Grammys or something, man. Everybody was dressed to the nines. They had the red carpet rolled out down there at Union Station. Nick, do you ever remember seeing or hearing about that, like much of an over-the-top ring ceremony or whatever you want to call it?
No, to be honest, I mean, I don't pay attention to ring ceremonies outside of the Chiefs all that often. I know the last time the way they did it at Arrowhead was because of COVID, I think, right? Because that was like right at the height of COVID when they got their rings. So maybe that's why they didn't do it this way last time. But no, it was. I mean, it looked like an event, right? You brought up the Oscars or something. You know, it was classy, super classy, right? It was a private event. That was much to everybody's chagrin. They were tweeting out, they're like, "Oh, in 1 hour," and everybody's like, "Well, where do we see it?" And it's like, "Nah, you can't see it." You know, so that was kind of a bummer that you didn't get to see it. But they posted the video and the pictures and everything online soon enough. So, but no, I mean it was pretty cool, man. You know, I like to think of the Chiefs as like one of the classier organizations. You know, the Hunt family and Lamar Hunt and stuff. So it was cool to see them kind of lean into that.
Bo, have you ever seen anything like that before? You recall? I mean, I know we don't really follow other teams and their ring ceremony.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
On Facebook or Twitter, I don't ever remember seeing something like that before.
I mean, you kind of end up seeing the rings, right? You'll always see the rings like a competition out there for who's got the most glitzy, most glamorous ring out there. But no, the event itself, I again haven't really paid attention to anybody else's, but I mean, I'm glad they made a deal out of it. I'm sure it's been talked about, everybody's heard about it, but I was digging the ring cases themselves, right?
Yeah,
like amazing. That was so cool. Everybody thought the players were just enamored with the rings, but they didn't realize they're just sitting there watching Super Bowl highlights of themselves I'm pretty sure each player had individual highlights playing, and then there was like a team one playing too. So it was like just what a production in that own right? Just having that set up for the players. That, I mean, so cool. The Chiefs, what an organization, dude. That, like you guys, like Nick was alluding to, the Hunts, they know what they're doing. They are very football minded. Kansas City is just such a great football town that like they understand that's what like. It wasn't like owed to the players, but man, did they deserve it? You know what I mean? And they gave it to them, and they reward their players super well, and I'm super thankful for that. And it was just awesome to see. And what a hell of a ring, right? We'll get into that now.
Yeah,
Scott, what do you think, man?
I liked it. It was different. It was unique, like you said, classy. The Hunt family is one of the, if not the most respected families in the NFL. You look at them, they're one of the original franchises that came over from the old AFL-NFL merger, played in the first Super Bowl. Lamar Hunt and Norma Hunt, they kind of were known as like they named the Super Bowl. I mean, you just go back to the history and the founding of the league and just how instrumental the Hunts were. Norma Hunt, rest her soul, R.I.P. She was known as kind of like the first lady of football, even after Lamar passed on. Only woman, I believe, to attend every Super Bowl up to this point.
Yeah.
What an accomplishment. What a feat. What a feather in your cap that is. Just imagine going to – Bo, you went to the Super Bowl this last time. Just imagine going to every single Super Bowl and just –
Man.
Just think about the players that she saw and the teams that she saw and the plays and the moments over more than half a century of 50
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Amazing. Simply amazing. Yeah, Pat McAfee was geeking out like you were, Bo, on the boxes. He's like, hold up. He's like, this box, look at this, man. This is clean, smooth. It's got the logo on it. Like,
dude, they were so cool.
He's like, then you open this thing up. He's like, they got a video board on the inside of the lid with highlights from the game. Like, they were blown away on the Pat McAfee show about just the boxes before they even talked about the ring.
Well, I guess if you're in that world, I'm not in that world. I got an Apple Watch. That's as fancy as I get. But if you're in the watch game, I guess the box is like a big part of the presentation of getting a new watch, right? So, I mean, I just like that little nod to that kind of prestige.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Boxes with videos in them, and then the ring itself was a sight to behold.
Spectacular.
I think they all are, though. Every time I see a new Super Bowl ring, regardless of the team, though, they're always just kind of, so over the top. You're just like, God, that's kind of really cool, regardless.
Right. You've got the keeping up with the Joneses factor. The Johnny Topper factor. Everybody's got to outdo the last team to win the ring, right? And ours is going to have one more diamond in it, or it's going to have one more facet to this. And now the top comes off, and it's a pendant you can wear as a necklace. And
coolest feature, by the way. That's pretty neat.
I was kind of expecting maybe like a James Bond, like laser beam or something to come out of that thing.
Transformer turns into like a little figurine or something.
Right, Transformer turns into a little figurine or something. That would have been sweet. But yeah, no, crazy ring.
What was your guys' impressions of all the numbers of diamonds and how it related to the season and players' catch counts and number of touchdowns in the season and all that? What was your guys' impressions of that? Did you guys like that? How they organize it that way? Do you think it was just like, this is how many diamonds we have on the ring? Let's find a number let's find a stat that fits that number, and we'll say that's what it was. Or do you think they actually like put that much time and effort into organizing it?
I think both, right? I think both. I think that when they're like, oh, it's 54, which symbolizes the number of points in the last two Super Bowl runs they've overcome. I was like, that's a little.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Yeah, don't break your arm reaching on that one, but. I mean, it was sick. I think that it had more than 200 more diamonds than the last Super Bowl ring, which is insane to think about. It has 600 diamonds, 600 circle cut diamonds, I think, or round cut or whatever they call it. I'm not a jeweler, don't claim to be, but yeah, it's cool. I like the symbolism. I really liked the quote from Lamar Hunt on the inside of the ring. I thought that was a nice touch. And then the idea that, however long you've been with the organization is how many Super Bowl trophies are in the ring, which was dope.
Yeah.
I did notice that, what's Clark Hunt's daughter? Is it Tavia Hunt?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she was showing hers and she opened it up and there was 3. And I was like, she wasn't even alive back then, but I guess that's just, when you're the owner's daughter, I mean, that's just what you get. Right.
Get overlooked when you're,
when you're the daughter of the chairman of the board, which is basically the owner, the guy that runs the team, you're gonna get the extra special treatment. Yeah, that was pretty cool. On the inside of the ring there, where the top kind of came off, they had Arrowhead Stadium, like you mentioned, with the quote, "Arrowhead's my favorite place on earth." That's pretty hard to argue with that. I was thinking about that when I read that, and I was thinking in my head. And I don't know I know of a happier place on earth than Arrowhead.
It's the adult Disneyland. It's so
now.
fun.
I mean, I've been pretty fucking sad in that building a couple of times, but now I'm pretty happy.
That just makes it all that much better, though.
Oh yeah.
I've never been sad going to Arrowhead. I've been sad a couple times, more than a couple times leaving Arrowhead. But yeah, that was a cool feature. I thought it was really a nice touch too, how they had Lamar Hunt's initials on the bottom of the ring, the LH.
Yeah, I like that too. In the football
logo.
Yeah.
That was sweet. That was a nice tip of the cap to Clark's dad. A lot of people kind of just talking about, man, these dudes, the other fans of other teams, how, this is corny, man. Like, how many different diamonds for however many different first downs you got, like you were kind of mentioning. Look, when you're talking about a championship ring and you got money's really not an object for the thing, come up with as much stuff as you can. I'm not going to be hating on another team if you had a championship ring. I thought it was pretty cool how they had the 16 diamonds for the division championships that the Chiefs have won. And then they had different cuts on the different diamonds for, like, what do they call that? The prestige cut, I think it is, for the 3 Super Bowl trophies.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That were on the front there. So, yeah, I mean, no detail overlooked other than the fact I put it out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter account. If you don't follow us there, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Chiefs Kingdom Live. I mean, they forgot the live part on the side of the ring under Chiefs Kingdom.
It would have looked so nice, right?
So good. Maybe they'll have it on my ring that they're going to send me with my season ticket gift box that I'm going to get here in about a month. Maybe there'll be a ring in there with Chiefs Kingdom Live on the side. But aside from that, there's no detail.
Yeah, nailed it.
overlooked.
I think they nailed it. Other than that detail.
Yeah, no detail overlooked. No expense spared. It didn't look like. Red, too, to me, is rubies are, I don't know, there's something about a ruby as opposed to like an emerald or a sapphire or a topaz. Always just kind of like, when you think about a ruby, you think about like royalty, or you think, you know what I mean? It's maybe not, kind of a little bit more rare. You see a lot of people with the sapphires and diamonds seem to be pretty popular. Ruby's a little rare, beautiful red color. How they cut those things. How long do you think it takes them from start to finish to design and make those rings, Nick?
I don't know, man. I mean, just to put the thing together, it's got to be probably, I mean, one person probably takes them a week if they're really good.
Yeah,
in
the
how many
videos
diamonds
they were
can you set a day?
putting
It's
out
got
there.
600. So
In the videos they were putting out there, they had a team of guys going through AutoCAD photos of everything, right? They looked like a group project.
Right. Yeah, and just some of those diamonds, just how small they are and intricate. But you look at like several of the rings, man, and everything is just completely evenly spaced on there. A lot of craftsmanship that goes into those things. It's still, I don't know why I find it so funny that Jostens is the people that make the Super Bowl ring, because they're like the class ring people, right? I mean, my class ring that I got is a Jostens ring. I don't know. When I think of fine jewelers, top-notch
Jostens isn't really
Jostens just
top in the list there.
Right, like Hellsberg or something like that. I mean, I guess that's diamonds, or that's more stone than the jewelry. But yeah, man, I don't think of like these like super expensive watch companies and these high-end jewelry companies, and then Jostens, you can get a Super Bowl ring or you can get your class ring.
I think it just makes sense for like the overall size of the ring. They're used to making something that big, right? We're more high-end jewelers, are more about sleek, slender, refined. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of wealth. I don't know if you're just rocking Super Bowl-esque rings if you're not a Super Bowl champion, just out and about wearing, what was it, 300 something diamonds on one ring.
Right.
I'm sure there are people that do that, but
yeah, John V, you're right.
Jostens.
John V is talking about our tickets financing the $14,000 rings. Yeah, I got about 2,600 on one of those rings somewhere. So maybe one of the guys let me borrow it for a day, and I can roll around town with a Chiefs ring. I don't know what everybody's opinion is in the chat of like the fan rings or the fan collection. You can go get a cheaper ring for, they had like different price levels or whatever, but
It was like 12K or something like that's what I saw.
Right.
It's 14,000,
Yeah,
I think.
like
14.
Were you pretending you're on the team or something? I don't understand the whole fan ring thing. I mean, I guess if you got the money,
I mean, people got $250,000 to go try to see the Titanic.
right? Yeah, we'll actually get to that here in a little bit. Wild story going on with that thing there, but yeah, I mean, there's folks out there that got that kind of money, $14,000 for a ring. I would just feel super weird wearing the ring. You know what I mean? I don't
Even like displaying it. People would be like, is that a real one? Like, no, it's the rep.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
It's like
That's
you're
just
gonna fool
me.
anybody. People aren't gonna be like, "Oh, you were on the team." No. Yeah, I don't know. But hey, there's people out there with more money than sense, and if you can afford it and that's your thing, more power to you. You go do that. So, got our man JT Campbell is in the house. Good to see you, JT. Thanks for swinging by, man. Haven't seen him. We were talking about locker room rant not being on the last 2 or 3 weeks here. Hadn't had a chance to really talk to our man JT. Although he did send us a tweet about Andy Reid, which was, I thought, pretty cool. I hadn't seen that until JT sent it our way. Just kind of talking about Andy Reid and not ever getting Coach of the Year, even though he's won the division where his leading receiver was a running back, and it was just had these crazy stats about all these teams that Andy Reid has had that won divisions and made it to the Super Bowl. It's one of those things where usually these Coach of the Year awards go to people who are newer or they're on a team that's not expected to do a lot. Andy Reid, guy like him, and not just Andy Reid, the upper echelon coaches, Bill Belichick runs into this too. It's almost like the expectations are just so high that you're never going to accomplish or do anything big enough or out there enough to really get recognized as the Coach of the Year. I mean, remember like Matt Nagy won Coach of the Year, I believe, when the Bears made the NFC Championship game that year and then lost on the double doink. I believe that was to the Eagles, actually, in their Super Bowl year. So
Yeah.
that was kind of something interesting to think about. Like, yeah, how's the dude? I mean, he goes to the Super Bowl almost every year now and doesn't get Coach of the Year. Last year, wide receiving core was decent, but it wasn't. I mean, it was, I don't know, the I don't want to say weakest, but less flashy wide receiver core that they've had after. I mean, losing Sammy Watkins and losing the
Who
Cheetah.
ended up winning Coach of the Year?
I don't even remember. Shows you how important of an award.
Maybe the chat can tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure someone in the chat probably saw it, but yeah.
If you're Andy Reid, do you really care if you win the Super Bowl and your quarterback wins the MVP of the league, right? Like,
No.
I think it's kind of speaks for itself. Like, you don't need the Players
Andy-
Association or whatever to name you Coach of the Year.
Yeah, Andy Reid is not losing sleep over not winning Coach of the Year awards. But back to rings.
Brian Dable. Thanks, Cole.
Brian Dable.
Okay.
There you go. Right?
Sure.
Anybody think Brian Dable was a better coach than Andy Reid last year? No, I mean, I don't. I don't think anybody in the chat's going to, but back to rings.
If anything, Kyle Shanahan should have won it because he was like trotting out a new quarterback every 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And they made it to the NFC Championship game. But anyway.
How come the Broncos coach didn't win Coach of the Year?
Which one?
Yeah. You let it ride.
Maybe they can give it to that clown they got in San Diego if they ever make it, past the first round of the playoffs too, for going for it on 4th and 4 in field goal range, down by 2 points or something. That guy makes terrible decisions, but I don't know what to think of the Coach of the Year thing. I mean, it's probably one of those things where the guy that wins it thinks it's pretty cool, and the rest of the coaches are kind of like, yeah, that guy, yeah, okay. But rings, I kind of wanted to see, and I would like to know what everybody in the chat thinks, and we're going to go around in the circle here and talk about I got 2 polls this week. First poll, I kind of want to know which ring Chiefs Kingdom thought was the best, was the hottest. And I got to admit, when I was typing that sentence out, I just had this like reality right now. Am I really
Humble
asking
brag
about-
post. Humble brag post.
Yeah. Am I really tweeting about which Chiefs Super Bowl ring from the last 5 years is the best? It's just after all the years of the no punt game and the Mariota touchdown to himself. It's still sometimes I got to pinch myself, right? And it feels like I'm dreaming. I'm not even living in reality here, but it's real. And there's the 2 rings there. Carol, I know you said you hadn't seen the ring yet. Was looking for a picture for it. It's the one there. I believe should be on the right side of your screen with the 3 Super Bowl trophies. We've got the Super Bowl 54 champions ring on the left there. Similar, but a little bit different. Nick kind of pointed out that the most recent one here is maybe a little bit of a continuation of the theme of the last one. I just wanted to see what you guys think here. Bo, which ring do you like best?
I obviously voted for the one with the most Super Bowl trophies on it. The more, the better, right? That's the one I'm always gonna like better. The one with the most Super Bowl trophies on it. No, I mean, obviously recency bias, but yeah, I really do like that ring. My personal opinion is I like rings with a square shape more than a circular shape. So I'm a bigger fan of this newer one. I just like the layout too. It's smoother. I kind of feel like I kind of hate to say that the first one looks like the KC symbol's a little off compared to the size of the logo. I feel like the proportions are a little bit more accurate on this newer one. I love all the features about it. The fact that it detaches, everything inside of it, all the etching and everything about it. So the newer one. Nick, how about you, man? Which one are you digging the most?
I mean, I like both of them, obviously, but
Yeah, well, yeah.
You got to pick one though.
I know you got to pick one. Look, the new one. It's got to be the new one, right? It's like the difference in a Corvette and like a Lamborghini. To me, I mean, it's just like they're both badass, but I mean, Lamborghini is still a Lamborghini, right? It just everything that Bo said, I liked. They even had some of the details, like on the side, there's like Super Bowl confetti, right?
Yeah.
On the side of the ring,
I like that touch too. Yeah.
I mean, it just the details just went on and on and on. I like the team logo. I like that it has the. I mean, they had the in the first one with all the scores, right? Where we came back, and it showed like they were down however many points in each game. I like that it has a signature with the team thing on the inside and the scores of the games. It's kind of like another shaft to the Cincinnati Bengals, which I like. So I don't know. I mean, it's like the same thing but upgraded, right? I mean, so how could you not like it more?
Well, I'm about to tell you how you don't like it more.
Let's hear it.
I honestly, genuinely like the first one better.
Okay.
I just don't feel that there's as much going on. The newer one, and again, like you said, this is nitpicking, and this is like comparing a Ferrari or Lamborghini. But the newer one seems like I don't know. It seems kind of busy, or I don't know if cluttered is the right word to use. But when you look at the old one, I know the KC may be a little bit bigger on the inside of the arrowhead, but to me, like it pops more. The KC does with the stones there. You can see the world championship a lot more clearly, world champions around the edge there. I like how the ruby background behind the 2 Super Bowl trophies is just because there's not 3 there, right? So that kind of pops a little bit better. I'm the opposite of you, Bo. I prefer more of a round ring.
Yeah, sure.
Than a square ring. So I kind of dig the semi-circle oval shape to it. I feel like the KC logo there inside the arrowhead pops more. It's a little bit bigger. You can kind of see the individual stones a little bit more. The top popping off of the new one and making a pendant is kind of cool. But to me, that's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, right? Like, how many tools you really going to use on that Swiss Army knife? I don't. So I don't know. It's just a little bit more classic looking, not quite as busy, not as much going on there. So yeah, I'm a bit of more of a fan of the first one.
Sure.
Be interested to
I
see
do
what
like the
everybody-
fact. I really appreciate the pendant factor in the sense that
Yeah.
like I feel like we'll see players wearing it out a lot more and sporting it more than a ring, just for safety reasons and stuff. I don't know. I feel like
JT
players-
says it's like wearing a watch on your finger.
Right.
it really is. They're so huge, man.
Yeah. So again, it just seems a little bit more jumbled, a little bit more cluttered, a little busier than I would like. But hey, they're both badass. I mean, I wouldn't turn down either of them. Interested to see what everybody in the chat says here. The poll wasn't even close. I after I put this up, we got about 20 votes in, and it was like 95-5. I sent a message to these guys, to Nick and Bo, a text message, and said, I guess I should have seen this coming. The newness of it, the fact that it's got more diamonds, it's got 3 Super Bowl trophies as opposed to 2 on there. I honestly thought it would have been a little bit closer, though. I thought maybe the poll was going to be more like 75-25, 70-30, somewhere in there. But, the new one ran away with it, and it's not even close. So we're not in the cool club here, which is not really anything new for me.
Yeah.
But speaking of rings,
we'll let you hang out with Nick.
Cole's got a question here. He says, will the tops of the replicas pop off and make a pendant? I got a couple on the way to me. To be honest, I have no idea.
I would hope so. If you're man. Yeah.
Did you get ones from the Chief site, Cole, or did you do what I would probably do and find some like cheap Chinese site that makes them for like $30?
There's this cool place called AliExpress. They're like $13.95.
AliExpress, there you go, baby.
Get 50 at once, but yeah, you got to get 50 though.
Yeah, after wearing it for a week, your finger turns green.
Well, the only time I'd probably really wear it would be like going to the Chiefs games or something. If I got one,
yeah,
be kind of sick to have like all the Super Bowl rings, as part of your accoutrement that you wear to the game.
Yeah, I was a season. This is getting off topic a little bit here, but I was a season ticket member of Sporting Kansas City for a couple seasons there when they won MLS Cup, and then the season or two after that, and they actually gave out rings to the season ticket members as their season ticket member gift.
Oh wow, the replica ones?
Yeah, now it didn't have any diamonds or any stones or anything in it, but it was still pretty cool. And I've got it downstairs.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat gift.
Sport den here. So, but yeah, I don't know. Again, I just feel weird. Like if you're on the team wearing a ring, I don't know. Probably dumb to feel like that. But another picture that came out, people are pointing out about the Chiefs ring. On the inside, they had the scores, which is pretty commonplace, of all the playoff games leading up to the Super Bowl championship, and then the final score of the Super Bowl. They had Cincinnati 23-20 on there, and people were talking about, hey, Cincinnati finally got on a championship ring. Finally, the Bengals finally got on a Super Bowl ring. That was pretty funny. But we talked about the trash talk on last week's episode where the Cincinnati media asked Joe Burrow about what he was doing in the offseason. Said, I'm just trying to become the best quarterback in the world, work on my game, kind of polish it up a little bit. And they said, well, if you're not, who is? And he says, well, it's pretty obviously it's Patrick right now. And it's Pat. He's the best in the world, and that's who I'm trying to pass up. And they asked Jamar Chase about it. He said, oh, Joe, easy. He's the MVP. He's the best there is. No doubt about it. And one of the reporters said, well, Joe said it was Pat. And we all heard and we talked about, like I said in the show last week, the Pat who comment from Jamar Chase. And just when you think the Chiefs can't own the Bengals in the NFL any more than they already do, Patrick Mahomes at the ring ceremony takes a picture with the 2 rings on the hand there. I think we've got the tweet here loaded up. And he doesn't at Jamar Chase because he doesn't need to. Jamar Chase knows who he's talking to. Everybody else in the sports world knew he was talking to. That's who, with 2 ring emojis. The guy, he just wins at everything. He wins on the field. He wins on Twitter. The guy wins at the Luke Combs concert out there shotgunning beers with Luke Combs at Arrowhead. I don't know if there's anything the guy doesn't win at. Maybe he's bad at board games or cards or something. I have no idea what the guy does not win at, but this just lit the internet on fire. People were laughing and making jokes about it. Pat McAfee had a great clip on his show about it. If you haven't seen that, I would go search out Pat McAfee, Patrick Mahomes. That's who. What do you think about the tweet, Nick? There's not much really left to say after that, is there?
Yeah, I mean, there's like the Simpsons meme where the kids are crying and like, stop, he's already dead.
He's already dead.
Yeah, just next level, right? That's a next level comeback. I mean, and Bengals fans can sit there and say, oh, well, they're thinking about the Bengals at their ring ceremony. It's like, well, they're laughing at the Bengals at the ring ceremony. I don't think that's quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Take a picture so I can tweet at this clown real quick. I mean, it's awesome. It's just all around awesome. Just totally dunking on the Bengals for talking shit. I mean, and we talked about this last week, I think, because Chase had already said it. And it seemed kind of like he was like being jovial. He wasn't trying to be like it wasn't mean spirited. But when you sit there and you say, Pat who, I mean, and then he gets his ring less than a week later.
Right.
I mean, he just kind of walked right into that one. So it was awesome. So
yeah, I mean, not only was it a dumb thing to say, it was awful timing to say it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, teed that one right up for him, right?
Right.
What was your reaction?
What do you think of the "that's who" tweet from Patrick? I mean, just the look on his face. Travis Kelce's like kind of in the background, looking at his ring, looking like Neo or something back there.
Just popping in and out of the Matrix real quick.
Bo,
it was one of those things, right? We've talked about it. Everybody kind of talks about it. You wonder how much these players like really pay attention to all the chatter, and you're like, yeah, all right, they pay attention to the chatter, and it was just like such a perfect response to like not super malicious, but just a good response to a call out. Like, oh yeah, this is who, right? Like, you're gonna call it out? I got you. And that's the attitude of this team, and I love it. Like they know who they are. They're not afraid to take on a challenge, and they're welcome it, right? They welcome it. Love it. I loved the response. Loved everything about it. I really loved that rose lapel pin too. I thought that was so classy. It was just like, dang, that guy. Yeah, he does just win. Wins at everything, even fashion. Kills the fashion game. He crushed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the suit, the tie. He's got the rings there. I mean, I wonder what Jamar Chase thought when he saw that tweet. Like,
stay off Twitter for a little while.
Kind of like Eli Apple went into hiding after the Super Bowl against the Rams, right? Where he was talking mad shit and then gave up the game-losing or game-winning touchdown, depending on how you want to say it. Do you think maybe the Bengals coach or Joe, because we talked about this last week as well, Joe Burrow, he doesn't really talk a lot of trash. It seems like it's more the other guys on the team that are really poking the bear. Yeah. And
right.
Do you think maybe after this last go around with Patrick Mahomes, maybe they say, hey guys, let's just let's take the talk down just a little bit here. I don't know. What do you think? You think we hear less from the Bengals this coming season? You think we hear more? What do you think, Nick?
I think they're going to keep talking smack. I mean, I think that's kind of part of the identity of their team. They do it to show that they're not scared of the Chiefs. And, they have beat us 3 out of the last 4 games. But, I mean, what do they have to show for it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, just keep talking, because Patrick uses all that for motivation, and he just wants to just be able to rub it in your face. Like, you've seen it throughout his entire career, where he takes these little slights, right? Like only getting picked 10th overall in the draft, right? Or, I mean, being only the 4th best player in the NFL on the thing when he's, playing Lamar Jackson, and just being like, oh, I don't know why.
Who's keeping track of this?
I mean, just keep doing it, because it's working for us, right?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Like, I see no reason for them to stop chattering. That's kind of their MO. As much as we like to give these guys credit as being like grown men on a football field, some of them are still have a little kid attitude. Some of these kids are in their 20s still, and
yeah,
they haven't learned yet that it's adding fuel to the fire. And what a team to add that to. This team they just live off of it. They eat that shit up, and they go out and win championships with it. So yeah, keep talking. I don't see them. No reason for them to stop talking in their eyes. So
I thought it was great how, and this is exactly what I thought when I read the tweet too. And obviously Patrick did put it in there, but Pat McAfee, he said out loud what I was thinking in my head when I read the tweet. He says Ja'Marr Chase was in Pat who? You talking about Joe Burrow? Pat who? And he says Patrick Mahomes was like, that's who, bitch. There is the B word there. And I was thinking that when I read the tweet that, like,
I think he wanted to tweet that.
Right.
Somebody interjected. Somebody interjected.
Right.
It's like, hey, drop that last one. Drop the last one.
The bitch at the end was implied, not stated. But I would like to know what the chat thinks and what you guys think here. How much of this is just them guys having fun, back and forth, trash talking, whatever, and how much of it is they really don't like each other, and this is like a Pat who, and it's a that's who, bitch. Like, how much of it's fun, playful, and how much of it is real animosity? But what do you think the percentages are? Seriousness and just having fun, kind of playing around, talking trash with your peers on Twitter.
I'm gonna lean more towards the latter, right? Like, at the end of the day, these guys are millionaires that get paid to play a game. At the end of the day, you see all these guys on different teams hanging out with each other in the off season. They're all. I mean, even all the mic'd ups you see, and you get the audio, you see all the footage. They're all super nice to each other. Some guys have bitter rivalries where you see it on the field, but for the most part, 95% of these guys get along, and they understand it's a game. It's super competitive, and while you're out there, yeah, you're enemies, but then once the whistle blows, everybody's shaking hands, talking to each other, telling them, I love you, great game.
Swapping jerseys.
Good luck, stay safe. Yeah, it's jersey swapping, right? So I don't think it's that crazy. It depends on how much the media can blow it out of proportion, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen that happen where a little statement gets caught on by ESPN or super huge podcasts way bigger than ours, and everybody's talking about it and blow it out of proportion, and then all the players take it seriously. But I haven't sensed that attitude from either side in this situation. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I don't think there's any real. I mean, I don't think anybody would end up getting in a fight outside of a football game over this, right? But they definitely don't. Pat definitely doesn't like it, right?
No,
I mean, it definitely like gets to him in a way that like he makes you want to, makes him want to kick your ass. But is that any? I don't know. I look at it like, I could see this going down between us if we were playing fantasy football with each other or something, right? So,
dude, if we're playing,
I don't think it's,
we'd be talking shit like this.
Yeah, I don't think it's like I hate that guy, but it's like definitely something that is kind of spurring that competitive edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And it's fun to talk smack too. I mean, it's when you're competing against people. I mean, it's kind of part of the deal, right? That's why everybody was so pissed off about the Chris Jones thing. Is like, well, he got a good sack on third down. Like, he's earned the right to say a little, little shit talk to Matt Ryan there.
Yeah, no, I think it's mostly just in good fun and guys, just peers like both. So these guys are millionaires, and a lot of them played in the same conferences in college, and so they've got histories going back.
Yeah, if not on the
guys
same
might have
team.
played on the same team. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes and Ja'Marr Chase played on the same team, but these guys, it's an NFL. It's, you know, when you talk about quarterbacks as a fraternity, but the NFL players, they're all in the union together. There's some camaraderie there. But there's definitely 20 to 30% of this is like, don't talk about me, son. I own you.
You think 30%?
I'm the best
like
player
all right.
in the league. All right. And I got the hardware. I got the rings to prove it. Don't talk about me. Don't say Pat who. That's who. Like, there's definitely a seriousness, a petty Pat. What I think that's what some people call him.
Petty
on
Mahomes.
social media. Like, Petty Pat is my favorite Pat, but like that gets under that dude's skin a little bit. And you saw it too with the trash talk last year, the Burrowhead crap, Chris Jones, when he was walking off the podium, the last press conference before the AFC Championship game, and he says, "I'll see y'all at Burrowhead this weekend," and just walked off like, yeah, these guys are brothers in the league. And you see it when someone, especially when someone gets injured, you see a lot of these guys, they all huddle around from both teams, the guy while he's laying on the field. But no, this isn't all just fun and games and just jovial trash talk amongst buddies. The trash talk pissed him off last year. The Burrowhead stuff pissed him off. Travis Kelce, everybody picking the Eagles in the Super Bowl pissed him off because after they won their second Super Bowl in 4 years, Travis Kelce saying, "Put some respect on our name," like they're really getting like that heavily disrespected all the time.
Okay, so I will say, I feel like there's a huge difference between when the defense is talking shit to the offense versus when another offensive player is talking to another offensive player.
Yeah,
like, you don't play each other. You're not really on the field,
Right.
right? So I feel like that's why in this instance, it's a little bit more jovial. But I do completely agree with everything you just said, though.
Yeah. So like I said, I think it's probably 70 or 80% just having fun, back and forth, ribbing. But there's 20% there's some bad blood between those two teams. And the Chiefs are tired of hearing about the 3-0 shit from the last 2 years. And they were tired of hearing the Burrowhead and the media and the freaking mayor. I mean, Travis Kelce called the guy a jabroni after the game on national television.
Are the Bengals our new rival? Are they our new rivalry?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it bigger than our AFC West divisional matchups? Or is this bigger than the Bills even maybe? Because I feel like they were trying to shove that down everybody's throats for a little bit.
Oh, they were.
Is this it? The Bengals and the Chiefs? This is the top.
Yeah, they're right now. They're
DeChambeau.
Right now, they're the Tom Brady Patriots, Peyton Manning Colts of the AFC. There's no doubt about that. The Bills, they've never beat the Chiefs in the postseason. They've never been to the Super Bowl.
Sorry, JT just got me, dude. I got to
that?
stop reading the chat. JT just got me. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's good.
Hey, John V.
Oh, man. Our man JT out there, Carolina Panthers fan. Looking forward to seeing his team this year. So, really appreciate JT swinging by here when he does. He's not even a Chiefs fan, and the guy comes in and gives us some support and mixes it up. So, definitely love that guy. Definitely love our guy, John V here. Where's Locker Room Rant been at the last few weeks, John? I was looking at my phone last night, disappointed that there was no Locker Room Rant. So,
yeah, actually, I was too. Actually, and sorry, we're gonna take a moment here because I agree. I've been missing the Locker Room Rant. I found some free time on my hands. I made a new intro, so if you didn't see that, please go back and check that out. But I also made this. It's a humble brag. I was making a humble brag video, and it ultimately turned out into an ode to the Locker Room Rant. But here it is for you guys' enjoyment. If you guys weren't around, here the video kind of explains it. Here you guys go.
Chiefs Kingdom
Live.
Talk about the wager. So I got my Bills. Nick has his Cowboys. John has his 49ers. And you guys all three have the Chiefs. To make the bet, the losers have to eat hot wings on the channel.
Why don't we all just find the hot sauce of choice, all buy a bottle.
I guarantee you do like that hot ones, buffalo wing sauce. We'd all be dying.
Yeah, we
Sour
could do
cream.
that last dab hot sauce. You want
Last
every-
dab.
At least the last dab.
There it is, right there, family. That's
There it is.
Last Dab Reaper Edition.
Oh shit. That stuff there is even for someone that can eat really hot food. That stuff there.
That's no joke.
No, that's no joke for anybody.
That's
I
the
don't
stuff you
care.
can handle with gloves.
I feel like you guys already won the challenge. I feel like you guys already won. This is
I don't know,
bullshit.
Tony.
Four dabs, 1 chicken wing, done.
All right, bet.
Is that a
All right.
bet?
That's a bet. Bet's in.
It's in. It's on video.
It's on video.
That's it.
It's like barring a penalty. Prescott over the middle of the turban. Gets smoked right away.
It's him and Burrow then.
There's an interception. The Philadelphia Eagles.
I fucking hate the Chiefs. I hate the Eagles. It's the worst Super Bowl ever. Average votes, put chili peppers in the chat. Fuck him.
We did it. We did it, guys. Scott, Nick, Bo, we did it. We did it.
Yeah, we did.
Can you believe John and Nick doubted us?
We lost the bet to the guys over at the Chiefs Kingdom Live podcast.
It's time to pay the piper. We're men of our words. Actually, these two are men of their words. I tried to back out 3 fucking times.
Oh, what did we do? There's a good chance that I will probably pass.
I'm about to shit my pants already. Don't you? Holy shit. 3 dabs this guy gives me. Just so you know, everyone is getting 3. You're
Yeah,
getting 4.
3.
Right.
Whose idea was this? I mean,
Oh my god.
oh my god. All right, get wild.
Where's the bathroom?
That direction, Tom. To the right. She's gonna be with you.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. It
Don't
keeps getting
fucking
worse.
double.
It keeps getting. My dabs were bigger than his.
No, you fucking snake!
Try to not get your tongue in there. You all keep.
Oh yeah, look at you eat.
Is it bad? Yeah. My tongue, the tip of my tongue is like fucking ridiculous.
What are you? Tony's face is matching JD's hoodie.
Yeah. Oh, what's wrong? Interesting.
Oh god. Oh god, it's burning my lip.
Don't stop eating ice cream. Fuck.
Oh wow. Oh wow. God damn it, Scott. Oh, that's hot shit. Fuck! I didn't even chew yet, bro. It's burning my tongue. It's in my gums. I think my eyes are bleeding. My gums are numb. Well, Nick, Scott, we cashed in, fam. We did
Next year, you guys are eating the mongoose.
You thought this was the hottest hot sauce. You've never tried the mongoose.
That's the hottest hot sauce I've ever had. I don't know what you're ranking.
All right, let me end on
Appreciate
this.
you, bro.
Let me end on this. Fuck the Chiefs. Fuck Bo. Fuck Nick. Fuck Scott. But really fuck the Eagles. That's all I got.
Oh man, sorry. I missed you guys so much. I had to make a video for you guys. So please,
Yeah.
if you guys haven't already, go check those guys out. They are hilarious. They're our boys. We love them. Men of their word. Just great guys. Go check out their show. Tuesday nights usually, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, watching them eat the wing sauce was almost like winning the Super Bowl all over again. It almost felt as good winning the bet as it did watching the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. So, nice job, Bo. That was funny as hell. I like that. Very well done. Very well done.
Oh, look at you eat. That's my favorite.
I think the look on Tony's face when he says it's getting worse, like was my favorite part.
So many times.
Yeah, the seriousness on Nick's face when he's eating it, he's like eating it. He's like he's getting ready to cry, maybe. But yeah, funny stuff. Going back to Chiefs Bengals, yeah, no, the Bills are in the rearview mirror right now as far as the top competition in the AFC for the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs and the Bengals. Both teams. That's been the AFC Championship game the last 2 seasons. The last 2 representatives of the AFC in the Super Bowl. The Bills look like they got some turmoil going on out there in Buffalo with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. They could be in for a long year coming up. I'm not predicting them to fall off the face of the earth and finish last in the division, but the Dolphins are getting better. The Jets got Aaron Rodgers. That division got tougher. The Bills look like they had taken a step back last year. They got destroyed by the Bengals. That playoff game was not close at all at any point. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Nick, you have any disagreement there?
What do you mean? Josh Allen's on the cover of Madden, bro.
Well,
yeah, didn't you hear?
Yeah, that's a pity cover, I guess, if you want to call it
Might
that. I mean,
drop.
Charity or
You know, the answer is I hope so. I mean, I hope they just fall off the face of the earth and win like 8 games. That'd be great. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. The whole Stephon Diggs thing has been very strange, right?
I haven't really heard of a team canceling OTA or they canceled like 2 or 3 days of OTAs or mini camp because of this whole turmoil, right? Or like it was like a Wednesday and they canceled the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I mean, the Bengals have passed them up. And right now, like I just said a minute ago, I think you're kind of looking at the best 2 teams in the AFC, kind of like the Patriots-Colts battles that went on there for how long was that? 5, 6, 7 seasons, something like that, before Peyton Manning got the injury, the neck issues, and went on to Denver, and Tom Brady got a little bit older there. Yeah, no, that's the rivalry. I think you're going to see the trash talk come down a little bit. I think Joe Burrow and I think the coach of the Bengals probably get to these guys. So let's worry about playing football games, and let's worry about continuing, to try and beat them on the field, and let's not give them any extra motivation that they definitely don't need already, because we've
already mentioned it here. We play them the last week of the season, man. So it might not even be a game that matters.
I think it's the second to last, right?
Maybe it's one of those two. Again, it could either be one that's like comes down to the wire, or it's just like still even depending on the season we have, could be like a resting week.
Yeah, for sure. Diggs wanting to have more play calling. That's not going to happen. You don't let the player. You don't let the wide receiver make play calls. This was predictable, though. This is what happened in Minnesota when they weren't winning and things weren't going his way, and he wasn't getting what he wanted. He worked his way out of there. I don't think Stephon Diggs is on a different team next year. I don't see him forcing his way out, or the Bills trading him. If he does leave, they're in real big trouble, because him coming up and when he came over that Josh Allen's second year and linked up with him, that really kind of unlocked Josh Allen. He was decent his first year as a starter, but he made leaps and bounds improvements, and that team really kind of got to that next level in the AFC with Stephon Diggs. So they need him. They got to figure it out. Our man JT's getting out here. Good to see you, bro. Appreciate always swinging
Later,
by.
man. Thank you for joining us.
Looking forward to seeing what his Panthers do this year. They went out and got themselves the consensus number 1 quarterback in the draft this year with Bryce Young. So interesting to see what they do there. Yeah, it is a diva. All of these top NFL wide receivers are divas anymore. Maybe Justin Jefferson isn't. I don't know that I've seen him really get out of line, and he's got a solid argument as the best receiver in the league right now.
He in Diggs' defense, which I can't believe I'm doing that. Jefferson gets the ball. He gets the ball often, and he gets the ball actually way more than often. He gets the ball a lot. Like it's the go-to. Yeah, he's open, right? Yeah, but
you think Diggs is just open and Josh Allen's not throwing him the ball?
No. And
I think there's a fear element to Josh Allen trying to throw it, right? Like that trust issue. Like they are obviously not on the same page. They're kind of beefing.
Yeah.
There was something there. It obviously started last year, and when that happens, I don't know. Is he going to turn where I want him to turn, kind of thing? If you're the quarterback, obviously, but
right.
I think part of it is teams, especially late in the season and in the postseason, have focused on taking Diggs away. We're going to double this dude, and we're not going to leave him open. We're not going to let him beat us. And Josh Allen can beat us running the ball with his legs and throwing it to Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox, so be it. But Stephon Diggs, and he hasn't been able to overcome that. I understand you got to trust him at some point, but you also can't be careless with the ball, forcing it into a guy that's not open, that's covered. And I know jump balls and have trust and just throw it up there and trust your guy to go get it. But Josh Allen starts doing that too much, and he throws 2 or 3 interceptions in a divisional round game. Yep. Then people are going to be jumping his ass. What's he doing? And he's forcing the ball to Diggs. So, I mean, I kind of get it a little bit, Josh Allen not just zeroing in on him and throwing the ball to him 20 times a game when the guy's not open. You look at Stephon Diggs' numbers in the postseason games, they're not good.
Yeah.
I want to say had 3 catches for 7 yards in that AFC Championship game, and he stood out there on the field and watched the celebration, the classic photo of him. And then he followed that up to come out in the divisional round game, and I think he caught like 2 passes for 4 yards the next time he played the Chiefs. So, yeah.
Dude, I know it's all in the future or after the fact, but this really reminds me of when Tyreek Hill came out and was complaining when he was on the Dolphins about not getting fed when he was on the Chiefs. And like we even kind of talked about it. It's like the same situation. Like, no, man, teams are just like triple covering you. They've figured out what you're good at, and they're just stopping that.
Well, he had like his most targets his last year here, right?
Right. And he was just complaining, I think, more about the long ball. But like, he even vented frustration after the fact on a podcast about not getting fed too much when Nick's like, obviously, getting fed the most kind of thing.
Yeah. Got our guy Cole in here asking about, I'm sorry, I guess that's Brenda asking about Hopkins. I don't know that. I think right now that it's 50-50 whether or not
he's still around, right?
There's on the Chiefs. Every day that goes by that another team hasn't given him a big contract makes it seem more and more likely to me that the Chiefs can figure out a way to get him on a 1-year deal with an incentive-laden contract to where the incentives are insanely easy to achieve. Now, injury could always jeopardize something like that, but if he's not getting if he's not cashing in a 5-6 year deal, mega payday from somewhere, come prove that you're healthy on the Chiefs for a year and pull a Juju Smith-Schuster and come in and make you 11 or 12 million, and then maybe try to get a fat contract somewhere else after that. And salary cap's going up. Maybe another team wants to overpay for you at that point. Maybe another team signs you so the Chiefs don't get you again after that, depending on how the year goes. I can see that. I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is a diva or not. He's never really shown, like when he was in Houston, he didn't really complain a lot, but he had Deshaun Watson and they were winning the division and going to the playoffs. And then Deshaun Watson's situation, everybody's aware of what happened with him. Then he gets traded to the Cardinals, gets hurt. And so he really hadn't had the opportunity to be a diva anywhere yet. I'm not really that familiar with the guy's personality. I don't follow his social media accounts or anything like that. But I have a hard time saying he will be when I haven't seen him in the past. But at the same time, most of these top wide receivers, Devontae Adams is kind of a diva, Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas in New Orleans. A lot of these are me guys, me first. They're definitely not necessarily team players or the best teammate, but they're the highest profile guys outside quarterback position. Running backs really aren't that big a deal anymore. They don't really get the attention because they don't have the longevity. But do either of you guys see DeAndre Hopkins as a diva or having issues if the Chiefs were to sign him? Bo?
No, man, he's never come up on my radar as one of those types of people, and he's been in the league now for a while. He's like in his 30s now, so I mean, I think you would have heard of something by now if that was a thing. It's just weird that, like, I don't think we speculate too much and get into too much gossip, but this is the one player that we brought up going like, hey, man, this is something around this player specifically, and I don't know, it's just interesting. I don't think it would be. Like, I've always been a proponent of him being added to the Chiefs. I don't see him being a diva. Nothing in the past has alluded to that. So I would definitely welcome on this team. But Nick, how are you feeling about it?
Well, if we're going to sign him, it's probably going to be to a shorter deal, right? We're not going to be signing him to a long deal. So that means that he'll be trying to be on the up and up to try to get a bigger deal after. So it probably bodes in our favor, right? I mean, if you're going to sign a 1-year deal, you don't want to show that you're a big problem. So he would probably, you saw this with Diggs, right? Diggs was happy for the first couple of years. It's like year 3 now where it's like, oh, well, now things aren't going the way that I want it to go. And so I think that'd be good. If we could only, who's the Vikings running back? Dalvin Cook that they released?
Yeah.
Would you guys rather we sign him or DeAndre Hopkins?
That's a good question.
That is a great question, actually.
Because I'd rather get Cook personally.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got Isaiah Pacheco in year 2. I know our guy John B loves him some Isaiah Pacheco. He flashed last year. He was a 1,000-yard player, and he didn't even come in and start until, 5-6 weeks into the season. So I think you're good there with that guy. Jerick McKinnon is maybe your pass blocking down, your third down back, and catch the ball out of the backfield, little tired legs. Talk about 2 of John V's favorite players here. I don't know where Clyde Edwards-Helaire fits on this team. I think I don't think Clyde's necessarily a diva, but I think he could definitely be sideways with the team. There was that story going around that he showed up to the Super Bowl and they told him when he got there, like, he didn't have a uniform, he wasn't playing. I find that very hard to believe that Andy Reid did that. Didn't tell him ahead of time you're not playing in the Super Bowl. That would surprise me. So maybe there's room on the team for a Dalvin Cook. You know me. I want him to throw the ball on every play. So give me a receiver over another running back. Not that Dalvin Cook, I don't think, wouldn't be a good addition to this team, but I would rather have probably Hopkins at this point. Bo?
Yeah, dude, I don't feel like I could be any more on the fence on this one. Like, I see arguments be made for both sides easily. Dalvin, like, just when we have our running back situation figured out, we have 1 and 2, and we're just looking for a 3. If you put Dalvin, if you get Dalvin Cook on your team, he's not a 3, and then you're in the same spot you were last year. Like, okay, so what's this running back situation? Who's going to be our 1? You're going to obviously try to pump Dalvin as your number 1, but that's going to be on what he can produce. And if he doesn't produce, then we're like, oh, damn it, we're in the same position again. Then again, I'm completely with you, dude. Like, let's get more weapons to Mahomes. There's no clear WR1. That seems to be the talking point of every media outlet out there, is that there's no clear number 1 receiver on our team. That would arguably fill that void. Maybe inspire some guys to step up and try to be like, he's not number 1. I'm going to be number 1. Kate, the Joker specifically, I would hope would have that mentality. But again, I think I'd have to lean a little bit towards D-Hop. I think it would just make a little bit more sense, just for, like I said, that running back confusion. I think man, he's so good, though. I don't know. He's so good. He's such a good running back. He's a game changer. He's one of those guys that you put him on the field, 3 or 4 guys are going to be focusing on him and forgetting about other players that they're supposed to be marking or covering. And I would lean D-Hop, though. More weapons for Mahomes and downfield.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about the Chiefs wide receiving core being a little unproven. We talked about that a few weeks ago on this show. The Chiefs, they have a lot of high ceiling guys at wide receiver. Kadarius Toney is a supremely talented guy that if he can stay healthy, I could see him being a number one wide receiver and 1,000+ yard guy, but he hasn't shown that he can really be healthy. Now, small sample size, you could argue. I'm definitely not saying he won't or he can't, but until he plays 15, 16, 17 games in a season, you don't really know. I don't think you can just like write him in and pin, right? You probably pencil him in, but you don't have any guarantees there. You've got Sky Moore, who I know is a fan favorite. Chiefs Kingdom loves Sky Moore. I like Sky Moore, but the guy had 300 yards and no touchdowns last year until he caught a touchdown pass that any one of us on this show or in the chat could have caught in the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't have. I would have dropped it. I would have been like, "Oh, I fucking dropped it."
I would have caught that pass.
Yeah, of course you would. You guys would have caught it. I would not have.
Rashee Rice is a rookie, second-round pick, a guy who's got a lot of upside potential, but you never know what you got there. And sometimes it takes receivers a couple years, 2-3 seasons to develop. After those guys, you've got Justin Watson, who's kind of a career journeyman, third or fourth receiver, kind of like a Demarcus Robinson guy to me. Might make a flash play here and there, but for the most part, I don't see him as being 1,000-yard receiver.
Nick, did you say you were leaning Dalvin Cook?
I think that this team has been missing a dimension since we lost Kareem Hunt that it's never quite got back. That offense that we had with Kareem Hunt was unstoppable because what are you going to do, right? And so like the Chiefs, and I love Pacheco. I'm not trying to say anything bad about the kid, but he's not. Would you say that he's as good as Dalvin Cook?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Not yet.
So not yet. Maybe in year two, right?
I don't think he's as good of a pass catching back as Dalvin Cook.
Right.
I don't think you need to be when you're that good.
I remember the team with Kareem Hunt, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I mean, you talk about the shell coverage that they're giving Mahomes and stuff, and we still struggle in short yardage situations, right? I mean, it's like 3rd and 1 is like our kryptonite, and so I feel like we saw last year what Mahomes can do with pretty much any receivers you throw his way with Andy Reid's system and Mahomes' talent. But Mahomes can't run the ball, right? And so I would definitely lean Cook. I mean, I think that we have a bevy of talent at wide receiver right now. I mean, we're going to be cutting guys that are probably going to be picked up by other teams. So that's the way I would lean personally.
Does Cook come in as number 1 for you, or do you think he has to earn that spot over Pacheco and McKinnon, who had stellar performances last year?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, right? I mean, you got to think about team chemistry if you make a signing like that. But if you're going to sign a guy and you're going to pay him that kind of money, he's going to be number 1, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, you bring in Dalvin Cook, he'll be your RB1. I don't know if that unsettles the locker room or if guys take that the wrong way or not. But, you make the Kareem Hunt argument, which brings me a little bit more to your side. But I still just feel like we're more established, more set at running back than we are at wide receiver still. So I would take the veteran wide receiver. We got Justin Ross, another supremely talented guy who was the crown jewel of his wide receiver class until the injuries. He was a guy that everybody said was going to be the number 1 wide receiver drafted when he went pro. Had some injuries and some things that kind of derailed that, but can that guy stay healthy? The neck issue he had, that is a big question mark for him.
Yeah.
They brought in this Richie James from the Giants, but he's a guy that has never, I don't think he's had more than 500 yards receiving in a season. Granted, he hasn't played with Patrick Mahomes. He has some numbers that people have been putting out there with metrics and speed and some of his average yards per catch, but he's by no means a proven commodity. So I think I would still go D-Hop, but I see all the points that Nick's making. And
yeah, completely.
I think that it would probably help. I know Isaiah Pacheco. Everybody in Chiefs Kingdom loves Isaiah Pacheco, and I love him too. He was playing with, what was it, a broken hand in the second half of the AFC Championship game in the Super Bowl that he had surgery on there after the Super Bowl was over. Kid's tough as hell. He
runs so hard.
Was the fastest running back in his draft class. But I expected him to have some more long runs last year than he did with that speed that he's got. So
we all did. I was watching clips, making videos and stuff. You're like, going through some of our old stuff. It's so close, man. He was 7 yards short. Yeah. He was 3 yards short. He got tackled at the 1. Like, he's due. He's still due, man. He only played 7 or 8 games. He's still due.
I'm on that Laney prediction program. You just keep predicting the same thing. Oh, the Chiefs are going to come back. They're going to come back. You just predict it every time. Then when it happens, you say, "See, I told you that was going to happen. I called it." But
that Peyton Manning story where he just goes and tells everybody bet on 18, and when it happens, everybody's like, "Oh my God, how'd you know?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you didn't see the 40 other times I told people to do that, and it didn't hit."
Yeah. And you didn't see Scott and Bo getting cleaned out at the blackjack table on.
Didn't tell us to bet on 18
either. That still pisses me off, but that's all right. It's all good. Joe Thuney's a good player. That was a hell of a pickup from the New England Patriots. Guy plays all the time.
How they let that guy go?
Clutch pickup.
Yeah,
such a clutch pickup.
Play all the positions too, right? He went and played left tackle when Orlando Brown got hurt in one of those games, or was it or did Wiley get hurt and they moved Brown over to right and they played Thuney at left? I can't remember exactly.
They had a whole shuffle going where I think all 3 of them kind of interchanged.
Yeah, so definitely a Joe Thuney fan, no doubt. But before we get out of here tonight, this is non-football story, but something that I think is super fascinating. This Titanic submarine that's lost at sea thing.
Crazy.
It is crazy, and it's fascinating and gut-wrenching and kind of heartbreaking all at the same time. But I saw a lot of people talking about this on Twitter, so I kind of wanted to see what Chiefs Kingdom thought.
Maybe recap what happened, Scott.
What's that?
Maybe recap what happened for anybody that doesn't know this news story.
I mean, if anybody's on YouTube right now, they've got a phone or a computer and the internet, but these people went down in this submarine to look at the Titanic wreck, and they're missing now and running out of air, and just it's a wild story. And I feel awful for those people, and I feel awful for their family, and it's tragic, but it's also pretty fascinating and kind of gripping, and the adventurous spirit of people to do something like that. But I just wanted to see what Chiefs Kingdom, and then I want to see what you guys say about this. And I want to know what the chat says. If you want to bring up the poll, if you're following us on Twitter, the poll's still live. You can go vote on this still right now. But would you all take an adventure trip down to the shipwreck of the Titanic, the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, two something miles below sea level, pitch black, freezing cold water? Bo, you going down there?
Hell no, man. I was in that. I voted. Hell
that
no.
was quick.
Dude, not at that price tag. Not at any price tag. Man, you could offer me a free trip. You could
money's not
offer
a factor.
me money.
I mean, if someone offered you, hey, you want to go down and check out the Titanic?
No, man, that is not on my bucket list. I've done a lot of scuba diving and understand a little bit about atmospheric pressure, especially when it comes to underwater. And it's no, not in a little tube, not that far down. I'm good. I'm gonna give that a hard pass. Case in point, this news story. I hope the best for all those guys. It's not looking too great, but no, that's a hard no for me.
Hard no for me. Nick, you going down there?
So I'm going to say no, but that's just because I have kids that are young,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But would I want to go? Yeah, I would definitely want to go, right? I would want to go into space. I mean, I used to go and hike it to the top of some mountains when I lived in Colorado. I mean, I like all that stuff, man. I think it's cool. I think that people need to push the boundaries of where humans go and what they can do. But I mean, personally, like being a dad right now, like I would feel super selfish, right? Risking my life for something that I think is cool. So I would have to say no, but I mean, I'd love to be able to do it. So.
Yeah, ever since I was a small kid learning about the Titanic in school in history class, I've always just been fascinated by the story, and just the Titanic was like the modern marvel, right, of its time. This huge ocean liner that was like a luxury hotel, basically on the ocean, and unsinkable. And just the times, you go back, it's the 20s, right? Just think about, like, it's not primitive, that's not the right word to use, but just how far behind they are where we're at right now with technology 100 years ago. And just that, like I said, that adventurous spirit of the people that got on the Titanic, and just like what a helpless feeling that had to be when that ship was going down and you're floating out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. There's no cell phones, there's no Starlink, there's none of that shit back then, man. So that's always just been a story and something that it's always caught my interest. I would like to say yes, that I would go down there, but I don't know, man. Like when it came time to get in that little thing, okay, let's go.
Did you guys see the pictures of like how tight and snug it actually was in that thing? Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw we had a big hell no from John C. Brenda's in.
He said he would change his mind. He did say he would change his mind.
He did change his mind.
I saw that. Lainey said she'd go. Be interested to see. I don't know if Big Doug or Cole are still with us here. John V's staying on shore. Yeah, like I said, I'm saying yes, but there'd be some nerves getting in that thing. I guarantee it. I don't care who you are or how adventurous or brave you are.
Nick brought up space exploration, and I can see how like it's super similar. However, space doesn't give you the ultimate threat of just crushing you at any given point. Granted, like you could have a fault and something could explode. There's always some room for error.
Micrometeoroids flying around.
Going down that deep, man, like there's so much atmospheric pressure on you. Water's so heavy. Like, nah, I don't trust metal.
Yeah, Carol's out. John C. He said he's just playing. He ain't going. Hell no from John C.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Vegas,
Cole's down.
I'll have a drink to you guys as you guys go down there.
Yeah. John B. John, you're right. The sea is scary as hell and undefeated. I mean, we know more about outer space than we know about the depths of the oceans.
Yeah.
A lot more, actually.
It's because Bo won't go down there.
I mean, I know. I know Nick has talked about SpaceX and is kind of into that thing, and he said he'd go on a spaceship to the moon, and he'd go if it became like air travel, that he would go to outer space, but he won't go to the bottom of the ocean. So.
I actually have similar feelings to that for some reason.
I mean, my answer is the same. I still wouldn't go into space because, I mean, maybe like when my kids are grown up, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'd definitely go.
I like John's answer. If the Niners lose another Super Bowl in the NFC Championship, he might consider
it. I got bad news for you, John.
Tickets are only $250,000. Start saving up, man.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'd be cool enough for me. I would like to just go out on a ship and go to like where it sank, just to be there and think about what had happened 100 years ago before. But again, I geek out on history, and I geek out on stories about humanity and history and things like that. So, and of course, there's always a good conspiracy that goes along with all that stuff. There's a lot of people that believe that wasn't actually the Titanic that sank, that it was the Olympic, and that's always an interesting
insurance
rabbit hole
fraud scheme or something, right?
What's that?
It was an insurance fraud thing or something.
Yeah, the shipyard that built the ship was struggling financially, and there was some prominent bankers and socialites, I don't know if you want to call them politicians or whatever, that were supposed to be on there that canceled at the last minute. And some of the photos of the shipwreck and some of the photos of it leaving, the window patterns, they say it was actually the Olympic, not the Titanic, that sank, and that they had some advanced knowledge of it sinking. Everything's a conspiracy nowadays, though. It seems.
I love the internet.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
Cole may be interested to know that Scott actually met some honest to God flat earthers in the wild.
Oh yeah,
that they believe that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, they said NASA was fake, and that they said that it was a money laundering scheme for the government. And I said, what about the space station? They said, well, that's just all filmed in a swimming pool in California at a movie studio, and that the Earth is really flat. Although they couldn't explain,
you can see the space station, right? Like you can go online, it'll tell you when and where to look, and you can watch it fly overhead.
Yeah, they said it's fake. They said that's lights and satellites are just floating up there held up by balloons. And
I think it's on my Apple Watch, actually.
Yeah. Anyway. That's what blew my mind too, is that I did not realize that James Cameron went like 3 times deeper than the Titanic shipwreck. He went all the way down to the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Yeah.
Like 30
some crazy submarine records.
That is fucking insane to think about.
I heard a comedian talking about like how much we've actually explored the depths of the ocean, and they're like, it's pretty much the equivalent of dropping 11 tractors off in the fields of Kansas and having to explore for about 3 days, and then be like, report back, what did you think of the entire continent of North America? That's what we know.
No, we definitely, like I said, we know more about outer space, a lot more than we do the depths of the oceans. Space is the final frontier, but a lot we don't know about the ocean. Pitch black too. Man, could you imagine those people just sitting in that thing if it sunk to the bottom and just like knowing you ain't getting back? That's crazy. That's like someone's reality right now. That's wild to think about, but
wild, dude. That's wild.
Real wild. I think we're gonna jump up out of here. It's been an hour and a half. It's been
on
fun.
That positive note.
On that positive note, tune in next week.
You got the locker room rant.
Did you guys see the video of the guy getting eaten by the shark in Egypt? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to put that on here. Been a lot of fun talking Chiefs off season. It has been good. Some good things for us to talk about. Training camp is like 30 days away. That means preseason games are like 37 days or
right
6 weeks away.
Dang. Here we go. Let's go.
I'm ready. I got my tickets for season ticket members day spring training. That's Royals. Training camp. Chiefs training camp. I'm trying to get out there up to St. Joe. Check that out. See the players in action. Get some practice in. Nick and I have gone to a couple of those. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
That's
get out
pretty
there.
Cool.
Watching the team practice and just watching the coaches work with the players and seeing Patrick Mahomes make the insane throws. I remember he made some throws at Tyreek Hill that were like eye-popping because we really hadn't seen Patrick like that. I mean, it was before he really took off as the best player in the league, started winning MVP trophies, and just watching him in practice was like, all right, man, this is a different dude right here. So,
yeah. Do me a favor when you guys are out there. Keep tally of how many times they do that behind the back pass.
Okay, I will. Now I'm going to tell Patrick if I get a chance to talk to him. I'm going to say, Bo,
don't do it.
No, I say, hey, listen, my best friend Bo, he's living for a behind the back pass this year. He wants to see it. You would make his year with a behind the back pass. So maybe we see a behind the back pass in training camp. Maybe we see one in a game, but thanks again to everybody who joined in.
Yes,
John
thank you
C,
guys. Thank you everyone in
Brenda,
the chat.
John B, Cole,
Hell yeah.
Carol,
Love you
Doug,
guys.
Laney. Am I missing anybody else? John C. I think we got everybody here today. Tell a friend, tell a family member, click like, click subscribe. We'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same place. What are we going to do, Bo? You killed me with the picture of the text thread.
What do you think we're gonna do next time, then? Right?
Anything Animaniacs is going to get a laugh out of me instantly. One of the funniest cartoons ever. But yeah, we'll be back next week doing what we do every week, talking about the Chiefs. Until then, everybody
Trying
take
to
care.
take over the world.
Let's go, Chiefs.
Let's go, Chiefs.
Chiefs.